All right, people, we have some hot, fresh, ready to eat at your own risk, of course, Asmongold straight off the grill, straight off the presses, okay? This is a long overdue video for me. I've been meaning to make this video for a few months now about how Asmongold has become one of the most, if not the most, in my opinion, the most violent political commentator on the internet right now, especially within the context of American politics, okay? He has become essentially mini Hitler, okay? He has been nonstop calling for violence, and his fans are constantly in my mentions, constantly in my comment section, sweeping for him, telling me he's not violent, telling me they want examples. So I'm going to give you those examples in this video, okay? I'm going to show you who Asmongold is and the vile, disgusting, violent, stochastic, terrorist-esque things he says on his stream, okay? Starting with this clip from 2 days ago, March 15th, 2026, where he's talking about his political enemies, saying he wants them jailed, he wants them publicly executed, he wants them sent to labor camps, okay? This is the guy that his fans are constantly trying to tell me isn't violent, okay? Because he likes to hide behind government violence. Everyone agrees government violence in many cases is justified, of course. No one disagrees with this. Everyone understands this, right? But that only really applies, that defense only really applies when the government that's enacting that violence is just itself. And of course, the Trump administration is not. And it's because of people like Asmongold enabling that administration, calling for violence against people for disagreeing with him, saying he wants them jailed, publicly executed, and sent to labor camps because they don't agree with him, okay? Here's the clip.
Like, I want him to just, this is the reason why I didn't vote for Trump, is because I didn't think that he would have the willingness to go after these people with the severity and extremism that I want him to do. Like, I want him to just, I want him to put these people in jail. I want him to try them for treason. I want capital punishment to be on the menu. And if that's the case, I want public executions. I want to have people get rounded up. Like, I want to have the military used for fucking deporting illegal aliens. I want to have these ICE protesters that are standing in front of these cars from the federal agents. I want to see them run over. I want to see the entire thing, okay? Like, that's what I want. And I want to see it happen. And then as soon as they get run over, I want to see them handcuffed to their fucking hospital bed, because after that they're being sent to a work camp. That's what I want to see happen. I hate these fucking people. They're parasites. They're awful. They destroy our fucking country, and they're doing it every single day, and that's only the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the content being hosted, being proliferated by Amazon-owned Twitch.tv, okay, to tens of thousands of people every single day. This is what's being sent into their ears and into their minds, okay? And who is this Asmongold guy, and why does he have the ear of so many young maidenless men? Who is this guy that has, he essentially has the young men right on lock, right? The only other person who he shares that demographic with is Nick Fuentes. I would say that the Nick Fuentes types, you know, the Groypers, and then the Asmongold fans, the incels, you know, they're all very questionable in their beliefs, but obviously it doesn't help to have someone like Asmongold grifting and profiting off of these people. Of course not, right? So if you're not familiar with who this guy is, I'll briefly go through his history, very briefly. I'm not going to touch on a lot of very deranged stuff, okay? Because that's not what this video is about, okay? If you don't know who Asmongold is, he blew up as a World of Warcraft streamer on Twitch.tv, okay? This was many years ago, 2015 or 16, I believe, is when he started streaming, and he blew up on Twitch for being a gaming streamer. However, he's been making content for longer. You can see this video is uploaded in 2010. It's called Asmongold's Lair. It's basically him showing his room. Now, this is where a lot of the claims of him living like a slob, living in filth, etc. come from, is from his own content.
That, let's get a better look at that. That's molded over Coke. That's more molded over Coke. This one's one of my favorites here. I don't even know how long this has been here. That's just disgusting. And then we have, well, that one's only starting to mold, so got a little bit longer. Oh, movies. Yeah.
There's his desk with all the cups and the plates and the filth, the mold, the ants, etc. Okay, I'm not going to get into all of the other things. I'm not going to get into the rat alarm clock. I'm not going to get into the blood wall, etc. If you want to learn more about how filthy this guy actually is, do it on your own time. That's not what this video is about. I'm just briefly explaining for people who may be like, oh, have seen clips of this guy before, but don't really understand who he is, don't understand the claims people make against them and why they're saying certain things about him. This is exactly why, okay? So Asmongold blew up as a video game streamer on twitch.tv, okay? As you can see here, 3.4 million followers on his Asmongold Twitch channel. However, if you look here, interestingly, he hasn't streamed on this channel since June of 2023. He didn't stream for several months before that. He streamed once in December of 2022. He streamed in November of 2022. Another big gap, another big gap. What are these big gaps? Where are these clips even coming from if they're not coming from his Twitch channel? He doesn't even stream there. Well, this tweet, where I got the initial clip that I showed you guys today, the clip of Asmongold calling for his political enemies to be publicly executed and thrown in labor camps. The person who tweeted it added this caption: Asmongold wishes Trump would publicly execute people protesting against ICE. Tough talk from someone who had to create a whole new Twitch account to stream on because he was so depressed from people bullying him for sucking ass at video games and quitting Dark Souls. This is true. He was playing the game Elden Ring and he was getting clowned on for being very bad at it, and he was very soft and soy and emotional. And so as you can see, he went to this channel, his Zacroar channel. Now he's built it up because it's his only channel now that he streams on. It's become his main channel, so he's built it back up. But he would go on this secondary channel he created and stream to, instead of, 20, 30, 40,000 people, he'd stream to 6,000 people with no camera, okay? Now, normally, I would never make fun of someone for something like this. It's very normal, okay? And here's a clip of Asmongold talking about it.
Can you redo the math? How much you're costing Twitch? I don't know. Having your main account, why you're not streaming on it? I just got anxious about it today. I don't know. It's a weird personal thing. No, I don't want to duel anybody. I want to just wait here and fucking play the game. Happy means so ads? Yeah. It's the same thing. It's not for me. Like, I know that, I planned, like, I even had, like, I put a tweet in my drafts that I was going to tweet out that I was going to go live on my main channel today. I woke up at like 7 in the morning. I was just having a panic attack and like freaking out about it. I couldn't go back to sleep at all. And so I just said, fuck it. Like, I just gave up. I just don't want to do it. I don't know if I'm ever going to stream my main channel again at this point.
So yeah, this is normally, like I said, I would never make fun of someone for something like this. I feel like it's probably pretty normal to experience a high level of anxiety going live in front of, 40,000 people versus 5,000. It's probably just like a mental thing. And normally I wouldn't make fun of someone for something like this because, like, who cares, right? However, I do think it's interesting, and I feel no shame and no regret and no remorse in pointing out the dichotomy between this guy who's too anxious and too scared to go live on his main channel, but is out here calling for, public executions and labor camps for his enemies. I do think that's funny, and I don't feel bad about pointing that out. Now, the other reason I'm making this video is because I want to have something to point back to, a reference, so to speak, because constantly, Asmongold's fans are in my mentions, they're in my comments telling me he's not violent, sweeping for him, giving him a million excuses, right? And I just want to show you that I've been saying for a while now, this is from January of this year, although I've been saying this longer, that Asmongold is very violent. People underrate how extreme Asmongold is. Asmongold calls for violence against people constantly. That's pretty extreme, man.
Feelings.
He does call for violence against people constantly. And this comment from this video was another instance of generating a wave of comments from Asmongold's, sycophantic fan base saying, Asmongold's not violent. He doesn't call for violence. Give examples. Give examples. Well, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I will give you those examples, okay? And here's the first one. You saw this clip from earlier. You saw this clip of Asmongold calling for violence against people protesting ICE. Well, it's not far from the first time that Asmongold has called for violence against protesters in the last year.
Well, maybe you should have just used the gun. I don't know. I think anybody who's going around and trying to hit police officers or anything like that, that's just, there's no reason why anybody should be supporting that. I think, yeah, that base. No, I think, again, I've said this before, I think they should use actual ammo, and if anybody throws a rock or tries to harm one of the police officers, I think they should just use deadly force to stop it from happening. There's no reason why anybody should be putting up with that. And it's disgusting, honestly, that there's so many people that are okay with it. Yeah, shoot on sight? Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Set an example? Yeah.
Out and keep committing crimes. It's
That
wrong.
only
So this is one of the clips where he leaves enough ambiguity where his fans will come in and defend this, and they'll say, well, he's saying if they're throwing rocks at police, they should be shot. Well, first of all, I disagree with that, even that premise, but maybe there's room for debate here, right? Sure. Like, personally, if I was in full armor and someone threw a rock at me, I wouldn't just want them executed on sight. I feel like that's pretty unhinged and deranged behavior, frankly. But of course, his fans will defend this infinitely because they'll defend anything he says, anything Donald Trump says. But the reason why I included this clip in this video is specifically because it puts on display one of Asmongold's tricks for how he constantly uses this violent rhetoric, but is able to hide from being held accountable for this rhetoric, right? And it's because he's advocating for government violence. He hides behind government violence. Okay. Now, everyone understands that the government has a monopoly on violence. Everyone understands this, and everyone understands that there are instances where the government needs to utilize violence and it would be considered just. Okay. No one disagrees with this, of course, right? Such as shooting an active shooter. For example, this would be valid. This would be a valid deployment of government violence in pursuit of the benefit of public safety, okay? Everyone agrees with this. However, Asmongold constantly hides behind this government violence to advocate for violence, advocate for things like labor camps and public executions, you know, advocate for dark ages levels of draconian measures of government violence, okay? And in reality, the government violence defense only really applies, it only really works if that government is acting in a fashion that's just. And if it's just targeting people protesting something that you like ICE, that wouldn't be just, Asmongold, obviously. We have another clip here. This one is from in the wake of the Renee Good shooting in Minnesota, okay?
I can't with these people trying to call this a murder and all that shit. Well, hey, maybe they shouldn't be in front of the car. The thing is that you're never going to convince these people that it's not, okay? Like, it doesn't matter. The only thing you have to do is crush them. You crush them completely. You never go, like, after you say, basically after you run one of them over, right? Or you shoot one of them for trying to run you over, then you victory lap around it and you send in more people and you do it even more. That's the only solution. That you're never going to win these people over. You're never going to explain it to them. You're never going to be like, oh, well, why won't you see my point of view? Because they don't want to. Why not just shoot the tires? So that way you make the car unsafe and some other innocent bystander can get hurt indiscriminately because the person didn't follow the law? Nah.
Funny that he says this when after Renee Good was shot in the face 3 times, her car still managed to go a full block, of course, obviously not hitting the guy who shot her, obviously, but like reality and facts don't matter to these people. They're just tools that they can manipulate and wield for their narratives. But
bro, you shoot them right in the fucking face. They said to stop the car. They said not to do this. They said to get out, and she's walking around driving.
Obey the pigs, no matter what, or you fucking die on sight. Okay, Asmongold.
Driving around. What are you talking about? Absolutely not. You shoot him right in the fucking head. That's it. Aim for the legs. Yeah, bro. Aim for the legs. Oh my God. Some of these people not thinking about this at all, bro. In a vehicle from what I saw. I mean, barely, maybe. He barely got away.
He walked away without a fucking scratch, to be clear.
And yeah, he pulled the gun on her and he shot her. Yeah, the thing is, like, how is it even that close? Like, even if you think that, like, that's what happened, what are you talking about? They told her to get out of the car.
Well, first of all, ICE is being illegally deployed to Minnesota, so their authority in this scenario even is questionable, but okay.
Almost ran him over. Are you going to expect somebody to make, you know, a decision like that in 1/10 of a second whenever somebody's, like, actively basically trying to run him over?
She clearly wasn't trying to run him over. She was trying to flee, which is why her wheels were turned away from him. And also, noticeably, if you watch that video, he didn't fucking get run over. So
if somebody did this to an average person and they shot him, I'd say rip bozo. The fact is, this is just what happens. They told
rip bozo. Okay. So there's Asmongold saying rip bozo when the Gestapo assassinates American citizens in the street. Okay, next clip.
If JD Vance does not push for treason with capital punishment against Tim Walz, do not vote for him.
Do not vote for JD Vance unless he says he's going to murder a sitting governor of a U.S. state.
If Trump does not deliver that.
Hold on, I want to try this government violence trick, okay? I think that if the Democrats take power, if they win the midterms, if they win the presidency in 2028, I think that the media figures who engaged in propagandizing the fascist Trump administration should be publicly executed. Of course, Asmongold being at the very tippy top of that list, okay? That's what I think. Policy, it's just a policy, okay, dude? It's just a policy. Asmongold should be publicly executed by the Democrats in 2026 or in 2028 if they win those elections, okay? I'm just advocating for a policy here.
Do not vote for him. Unless the most extreme, dramatic, brutal, aggressive option is on the table, I'm staying home.
Interesting. I hope Democrats keep that in mind when they take power back.
I'm staying home, bro. I'm done. It'll never happen. That's fine. Then I guess he's not gonna win. He's not gonna get my vote. I'll tell you that. Yeah, you're not gonna get my vote. It's not happening. Yeah, I sleep.
The reality is that Asmongold doesn't vote because he's too lazy to go outside, as has been well established. But anyways.
And then he shoots her a couple more times to finish her off. Because
so there's this long video from Disinformation Tracker where they're going through many of the most deranged, unhinged quotes from Asmongold. This video is more specifically pertaining to his violent rhetoric because he's the most violent propagandist on the internet right now. But let's just watch him talk about his own mental state briefly.
I know that the way that I look at things is insane to most other people. I'm fully aware of this. I know this. And my argumentation and the way that I see things is just totally wrong in the eyes of most people. And the reason why, and that's the big...
And thank God for that.
Reason why I have problems dealing with like other people a lot is because my solutions to problems are oftentimes so extreme and so immoral and, you know, like inhumane that people, like, because I don't really see people as people in a lot of cases. I just see them as like an object or a functionary tool. And this has been a problem my whole life. And so basically, like, I have a very different perspective on the way that I see things in the world. You think about killing random people? Yeah, all the time. Oh, constantly. All the time. Yeah, if somebody makes me mad or something like that, yeah, of course. I could not drive down the road without thinking about every pedestrian and if I could run them over or not. For like 3 months.
Very normal stuff.
I was going in on this because I spent so much time running people over on Call of Duty. It's the call of the void. You're describing psychopathy. Well,
I play plenty of violent video games, man. I never fantasize about these things. I'm gonna be honest here. Maybe I'm weird.
Either way, I don't let things like this affect me at all or bother me.
So this is the guy who has the ear of half of the conservative young movement, okay? Now, luckily, that movement is shrinking, and thus, in turn, Asmongold's numbers are going down. He's influencing less people over time. This is a good thing, okay? Because if in this guy's world, we would be living in, 1600s, Europe, okay? This guy believes in very draconian, violent measures for people who he disagrees with, okay? That is unhinged. It's un-American. Obviously, all of the MAGA movement has grown deeply un-American and deeply unhinged. But this is the content that the Amazon-owned Twitch.tv is hosting on their platform without any form of repercussion, of course. And like for years, and this brings me to my next point, for years now, they've been letting people, political commentators, just be unhinged and violent on their platform with zero recourse, zero repercussion, okay? And this brings me to my next point, okay? The Asmon copes, okay? The fans of Asmongold have these copes lined up to defend him. The first one is the governmental violence. We talked about that. The second one, they'll just call me, a Hassan Piker stan, a Hassan Piker fanboy, okay? Or they'll bring up Hassan saying violent shit as like somehow in their mind, this is a counterpoint to me pointing out that Asmongold is violent, okay? I don't know where they even get the idea that I'm some sort of Hassan Piker fan, okay? I've made several videos. The oldest video on my channel is this video where I'm heavily critical of Hassan for the entire video for saying Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are the same. I've made a video back in October. I actually made 2 videos about Hassan abusing his dog. I made a video in November about Hassan sweeping for the Chinese police after they harassed him and searched his phone on day 1 of his China trip when he was in Tiananmen Square, okay? I am not a Hassan Piker fan. I am not a Hassan Piker defender. So keep that stupid, dumb bullshit to yourself, okay? It does not apply. Now, the reason why Asmongold is wheeling back out his rage bait, violent rhetoric again is because the MAGA movement is collapsing. And I've said this many times, okay? In the case of someone like Donald Trump, the weaker he gets, the weaker his movement gets, the less influence he has, the less that his sycophantic Republican Party is willing to listen to him, the more dramatic his measures are going to get, okay? The more drastic and insane and unhinged and anti-democratic and illiberal and violent he's going to get as the president, okay? And the same kind of applies to Asmongold here, right? His numbers are going down. The MAGA movement is collapsing. A lot of his viewers are disillusioned now and see him as a Fed because he's been so unbelievably supportive of Trump's actions in Iran, even though Trump himself hasn't even been able to give a coherent reason why they're doing this. Asmongold has been on his knees slurping Trump's cock for the Iran situation the whole time. He's been sweeping for him being a pedophile, and the MAGA movement is collapsing, okay? It's fracturing. There are various different coalitions coming out, and like, for example, this is what Nick Fuentes recently had to say.
Tapped out sent $25. Thoughts on the Butler assassination being staged? There's a dark video on X that draws the conclusion that Trump is Messiah Ben Joseph. Right ear being pierced in public can signify Jewish slavery.
I'm just going to become liberal. Like, I just have to become liberal.
What was that?
Signify Jewish slavery.
Become liberal. Like, I just have to become liberal at this point. I can't do it anymore. It's like I've so gone in the other direction. That, like, seriously. This is what it's become. This is what it's turned. It wasn't like this before. It really wasn't.
It was.
It turned into this, and now everything's.
It was always like this. We can go back to Pizzagate, QAnon, all these things. It's always been like this. Come on, Nick.
Everything's a conspiracy. Oh, it's AI. The Netanyahu's a deep fake. Trump is a deep fake. Butler was fake. Charlie Kirk was fake. Venezuela was fake. Everything's. The Iran is fake. Nukes are fake. It's all of it. Everything is like this now. Bro science, schizo nonsense that doesn't even make sense. 5D chess, voting Republican no matter how bad it gets. It's like I'm just so beyond that.
Elon Musk sent $20. Caroline Levitt on X. Ben Shapiro.
So this is Nick Fuentes essentially saying the movement has become so fucking insane that he has to distance himself from it. Now, I would argue that the movement has always had these very insane roots, although I will admit it has gotten worse over the last year, of course, but it's because you're filtering out anyone who had a functioning frontal lobe out of the MAGA movement at this point, right? All that's left is the craziest, most conspiratorial, most sycophantic freaks and 70 IQ, poor genetic stock degenerates left, right? That are in this MAGA cult, of course. So, I mean, like, it's kind of like a fuck around and find out moment for Nick Fuentes here, because it's like you built your movement with all these stupid, obviously stupid people. So obviously it's going to be a stupid movement and it's going to get more stupid with time, but at least he's admitting it, right? Asmongold is one of those 70 IQ, poor genetic stock degenerates who is incapable of comprehending reality. And he's upset that his little fascist movement isn't going to pan out the way he had hoped and the way a lot of people feared it would. So he's lashing out. He's doing his rage bait. He's doing his violent rhetoric again that he hadn't been doing for a couple months. And it's the same as Trump, acting more drastic as he loses power, right? As Asmongold loses cultural relevance, he'll continue to wheel out more rage bait and more violent rhetoric, and it's basically him just screaming, guys, look at me, give me attention, please, okay? But it's not going to work, okay? Hopefully the Democrats, when they take power, they enact all these draconian punishments that Asmongold advocates for on Asmongold for being a fascist propagandist. We can only hope, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thank you so much for watching and listening to me rant about this. I'm glad to make this video so that I can have this as a reference point when Asmongold's dumb drone fans are in my mentions saying he's not violent. I can just point them to this video that they're too stupid to probably comprehend anyway, and they probably won't watch anyway. But at least I can do that instead of trying to make an argument at someone who has 70 IQ like all Asmongold's fans do. All right, thank you so much for watching. Get the hell out of here.